another network that is revolutionizing the blockchain space, and that is Avalanche. So what is Avalanche? What are some of the things that are being built on it? And then also, where's price going to go long-term for this project? Avalanche is a layer 1 blockchain, and Avalabs is the company that grants other people tokens on the network to be able to build out specific use cases and foster innovation and foster a community where people come together and utilize the infrastructure for different applications. Avalanche is really special because of its Snow protocols. The Snow protocol is a group of rules that the Avalanche blockchain uses to agree upon new information. This is a big deal in the world of blockchain because there's 3 different protocols that all work together. So one is the X chain, one is the P chain, and one is the C chain. So let's break down what each one of those chains does. The X chain is the exchange chain, and it does the trading of assets that are issued on the network. The C chain is for smart contracts. The P chain is for managing validators and sub-validators on the network. And all of these interact in their specific role and work together in order to validate transactions and make sure that things are run efficiently. In comparison to other chains like proof of work or proof of stake, they use something called subsample voting. And in this method, a node gets a transaction, it asks a random group of nodes if they've seen or validated the transaction, and then they get the answers based on what they know, and this process repeats until they all agree upon whether or not the transaction is good or not. This way, the Snow protocol reaches agreement fast and efficiently, even when there's a lot of nodes in the network. It's also really secure, and it's safe against different types of attacks, and that's what makes it really strong because of the decentralization of the nodes across the network. So now that we've kind of run down what comprises the network and how Avalanche works, what's the company behind it, and what do they do to support the network and help it grow? Well, that's Avalabs. They do a lot. Behind the scenes, they're a foundation. They issue grants to different people that are developing on the network. And the main roles that they play in the ecosystem are the development of the blockchain itself, Avalanche, and the platform. Again, they support the developers in the community by providing grants and other, educational content for them to view and use on GitHub. They foster partnerships and collaborations with other ecosystems, blockchains, and companies. And they also do the token economics and network governance, which basically means they manage the Avax token and how people use it on the network and make decisions around that. And then last, they help with the incubation and support of projects. So any new projects that are being brought onto the network, they kind of take them under their wing and make sure that they're going to be successful. So some of the key projects and applications that might be used and are being used in Avalanche's ecosystem include, DeFi platforms and applications, NFTs, obviously everybody's favorite. And then, there's a bunch of other use cases that could be potentially built out on the network over time that we don't really have any leaders in. So let's get into some of the few companies that actually do have some traction in a few of these different areas, and we'll break those down. Pangolin Exchange, which is a popular place on Avalanche for trading that doesn't have a centralized authority. It's a decentralized exchange, and it offers fast, cheap trades and ways to earn through liquidity pools and farming. And then you've got BenQIFi, which is a platform on Avalanche where you can lend and borrow money against your Avax and other tokens that have been issued on the network. And you can earn interest on what you lend and stake through loans on your crypto, which is cool. Then there's a couple different NFT projects that are kind of leaders when it comes to Avalanche. One of those is the marketplace itself. So Snowflake Marketplace, you can buy, sell, trade your NFTs that have been issued on Avalanche. And then also you can bridge your NFTs from Ethereum onto the network. And then I think they have another bridge with Binance as well. So it supports, digital art and collectibles that have been issued on the blockchain, and you're able to swap those in that marketplace. One of the NFTs that's prominent there is Avalanche Punks, which, is kind of a spin-off of CryptoPunks that was launched on Ethereum. And like I mentioned before, there's a couple different bridges. One of those is the Avalanche Bridge, and that's what allows for you to port NFTs that are issued on Ethereum over to Avalanche and then utilize them on that network. Some of the key areas that I think might be relevant in the future for Avalanche or use cases would be supply chain management. You've also got DAOs and governance. There's a lot of great infrastructure within the protocol that could allow for that to develop on the network. And then tokenization of real-world assets because of the smart contract capability for what you have on Avalanche. I think that there could be a pretty significant adoption of tokenization of real-world assets on this chain as well. So let's get into everybody's favorite topic. What could price go to? Right, so we're a little over $35 right now per Avax. I myself am not going to speculate on the token, but I'm going to give you some different articles that have been written and some potential price appreciation for what could happen in the next bull run or if we saw utility on the network. So cryptonews.com, they basically estimate, in the article that they've written that you could see a 10x over the next bull run in the token. So that would put us somewhere north of $350 a piece. Pretty good return. Seeking Alpha is another site that's written about Avalanche and its potential price appreciation. And they mentioned something pretty interesting here. So in order to be able to run a subnet validator, you have to hold 2,000 Avax tokens, basically in escrow to be able to fund the node. And so, right now that's going to be about $70,000 if you wanted to run a subnet validator and earn rewards on the network. But if if we got a 10x in that, that's $700,000 is what it's going to cost you to run one of these. And that's going to be the same across other networks. I've talked about other ones before where there's master nodes and standby nodes on the network, and you have to fund those nodes with specific amounts of crypto. Be interesting to see how that plays out, but that locks up those tokens. They're off the market, drives scarcity and supply and demand. So it could be another catalyst as people, continue to build out nodes on the network for some price appreciation. And again, could drive price, potentially 10x. The last one, AOL.com, there's been a couple different articles that have been written there, all speculating that the price, would go somewhere between $48.95 and $92.50. But we have seen some on there looking ahead to 2030 where people are talking about, $294.68 all the way up to $407.72. Your guess is as good as mine. I do think that there's a lot of potential for this network, especially if we do have full-scale adoption and there's use cases that are built out on top of it that drive value. And again, lock up the token, you could have scarcity. And so, I'm bullish on the token and the network myself. They're doing some really cool things in order to change the blockchain space. They have a really strong group of supporters. There's a big community behind Avax. And if you aren't involved with them, I would encourage you to check out the community. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more of the updates on technology and blockchain. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.